All right, lads and lasses and good day, mates. Welcome to another episode of the Toon Under podcast with me, Lee, and I'm joined today by Dimi. We're going to be talking about the Leicester game that started at 5 a.m. in the bloody morning. For most of us here in Australia, at least on the East Coast and a little bit on the South Coast. So apologies if we look a bit dusty. We're kind of knackered at the end of the day here. Demi, mate, how are you going? What was your initial reactions to this game? It was Newcastle 3, Leicester 0. What were your thoughts after that game?
Just get the job done, tick it off and move on, to be honest. As we'll go through in a minute, there wasn't much really besides the first half to write home about, but it's that sort of game where you just want to get the win. Clean sheet's nice. Maybe you can rest a few players and then move on, because Leicester are awful. They've been terrible for a while. But I mean, the Premier League is a weird league. You never know on any given day if you don't show up. It was a Monday night game in the UK, Sky Sports. So Sky were trying to build it up. I'm assuming when they picked this game to be banana skin for Newcastle, maybe they'll fall over against a promoted team. But we were professional, got the job done, and yeah. After tonight's show, I think the less said about this game, the better.
It was all right 45 minutes worth of football, wasn't it? And then the other 45 minutes was like nothing to talk about. So
zero.
On that topic, we'll probably just be talking about the first half, because nothing happened in the second half that was worth bothering to mention. Talk about the teams first of all. So Leicester, they started with Hermanson in goal, then Justin, Faze, Cody, Christensen, Thomas, and Didi, Suma, Daka, El Canus, and Vardy. Vardy, who must be like 45 million euro by now, and still looks exactly the same. Still looks like annoyed. Yeah. Every time you see him lined up, he looks like he's annoyed and he's about to like headbutt someone who's walking past him instead of shaking a hand. Newcastle unchanged from Brentford, I think it was. Pope at the back, then Trips, Schar, Burnt, and Tino, Joe Linton, Tonali, and Bruno in the middle. Barnes and Murphy on the wings, and Isaac up front. So Gordon missing. He is still nursing a hip or thigh injury, depends on who you listen to. Hasn't even trained with the group yet, so obviously that is a little bit more serious than we might have first thought. Joey Willock is also out of this game, or was out of this game, because he's following the concussion protocol after get clouted on the Heed versus Brentford. So really, that's probably the first 11 that everyone would have picked, I think. Would you have made any changes to that? Seems to pick itself, I think.
Yeah, we haven't got too many options now, especially with Gordon now. We don't have too many options unless you wanted to rotate the squad, but we're in no position to rotate the squad. We need to ideally win the rest of their games, or most of our games, and we can't take any team for granted. So I don't think we're squad rotations on the menu for us. So yeah, team picks itself, and hopefully there's no more injuries going forward.
Yeah, we are barreling towards the end of the season. Every fixture is a cup final, and let's be honest, we're fucking great in cup finals. Yeah, didn't take long to get out into the conversation. Get in. Still can't believe that, man. Still enjoying every single minute of that fantastic cup final.
As you should. As we should.
Absolutely battered well should. Exactly right, Demi. Exactly right. All right, so let's talk about the first goal then. Might as well just dive straight into this. My football brain woke me up at 5:05 this morning, and I looked at the clock and I went, "Oh, that's not too bad. Thanks, brain. I've only missed the first 5 minutes." Tuned in, we're already 1-0 up, and I'm like, "God damn it, I've missed that." And it took like 30 minutes on the actual live feed to see the goal again. It was Murphy with a tap in at the back post. Some nice play down the wing on the other side from Tino and Barnes.
Yeah,
I mean, this probably just highlights how shy Leicester are, really, don't they? Because it was about as basic as it gets. 1-2 down the wing, crossed it right in front of the box, right in front of the keeper and the back four, and Murphy just taps it in. I mean, that was good for us, but like terrible for Leicester, really.
Yeah, it looked like a training drill, to be honest. That the goal, in terms of an overlap, cut back to the back post and tap in, it was a training drill FIFA type of goal where you try and score those goals, but very rarely you have the space to execute something like that. But I mean, fair play to us. I think we did move the ball well for that goal, and Barnes and Tino did combine well, especially in the first half. And I mean, Tino's just going strength to strength at left back. I mean, obviously Lewis Hall's our first choice left back, but for me, Tino's been, I think he's been even better himself as a left back than he was as a right back in the last few months before Hall got injured. I think Tino's been fantastic as a left back. So his crossing on his left and his right has been very good, and he's very direct. He probably doesn't have the technical quality as Hall, but he's very direct. And I mean, sometimes all you need to do is get to the byline and cut the ball back. And if your winger does his job at the other side, he's there for a tap in. So yeah, perfect start for us, especially a game against an inferior team. You get an early goal, and that's always helps.
Yeah, actually, I've just been reading before I came on here that there is a slight suspicion that Tino may have picked up a little knock. We'll have to see how that pans out over the next few days. But Eddie Howe didn't focus on it in his post-match apparently. But some of the Chronicle reporters noticed that he was kind of hobbling around a little bit after the interview. So I mean, if he's knackered, let's say for example he misses the next game, which is Man United. I'm not saying this is going to happen, but just as a kind of mental exercise here, you've got Trips down the right. We assume he's fine. Who do we put down left? It'll have to be Matty Targo, won't it?
I think in that scenario he'd put Trips at left back and put Kraft at right back. I really don't think he's going to play. I really don't think he's going to play Target unless everyone else ahead of him is out. I think Trippier, he trusts enough. He's been in good form the last couple of months. He trusts enough to be right or left back. And I mean, Krafu, he doesn't really let us down. So he's not going to give you the same quality probably going forward, but he's going to be your old school Paul Dummett 7 out of 10 fullback, and that's probably all you need.
Yeah. What did Target do to Eddie Howe to get slapped all the way down to the bottom of the order here? Because he was doing all right first season when he was in when we nicked him from Villa. He was actually really good, and then Eddie Howe comes in and almost he's relegated.
Well, when he came to us on loan in January, he was obviously first choice left back, and he played, I want to say, most of the season. The rest of the season he was fit. He was playing as a left back. He then started the next season, the game that I was at. He started the next season as a left back, but then picked up an injury. I'm pretty sure early in that season, picked up a knock, and that's when Byrne went out to left back. And really, ever since then, that injury, I think it was the 22-23 season, he hasn't really got back into the first 11 since. He's still on a decent wage, and he's obviously happy enough being a cheerleader in the background. But yeah, you'd have to think as a professional footballer, he's quite frustrated to be nowhere near the first team.
Particularly when he is a specialist left back, and then you see people out of position taking up his spot when you might think, wouldn't you bring in the natural left back here? Like, it's clear that Eddie Howe doesn't like him very much. I think makes you wonder how long he'll be at the club for going forward. But he's got a winner's medal, I think, hasn't he? So yeah, he's doing something right. Christ. All right, so that was a good start to the game. Murphy didn't hang around though. 11 minutes, gets his second of the game. I don't even want to talk about his goal, to be honest with you, because I've got a slide here, because the best thing about this whole goal, and probably the whole game, was the absolutely incredible shot from Schar, 60 yards in his own half. It's floating over the top of the keeper, who was God knows where he was going. And I think the Leicester fans in the stand behind were kind of frozen in time, just watching this ball coming towards them, thinking, fucking hell, this is just a summary of our season, if this goes in. And doinks off the crossbar. And then, the aforementioned Murphy has gambled, really. And even in his post-match, he says he's not even sure exactly why he chased it in either. But that's kind of the instinct. No, it's what he said. But it's kind of the instinct you need, isn't it, to get those goals? It's like, you know what, I'm just gonna see how this goes here, because you could see the keeper was flapping. Like he's kind of fallen over from the moment he starts to run backwards. I think Shea Given said, like, if he had just stood up, he probably would have just caught the ball. But he was like kind of flapping sideways, as he was trying to kind of scramble back to the ball, to the goal line, and watching the ball as it was coming in. And the funny thing is, Murphy almost cocked it up as well, didn't he?
He did.
His first touch was horrendous. Or was it his second touch? And it sort of
Second.
bounced up on him, and I thought, oh, here we go. And he actually manages to lash it into the corner past the keeper, who's still falling over, I think, at that point. But take nothing away from that shot from Schar. I mean, we know Schar has got a raker in him. Usually it's a pass, but we know he's got an absolute blammer kick in him as well. Of late, those have not been particularly high quality. I don't know if his new contract has suddenly given him a new lease of life, ahead of this game, because that was, I mean, not only did he take that shot from ridiculously far out, but he also won the ball in the first place. He stole it off the Leicester player, looks up and goes, oh, I'm having this. And it was a beautifully finessed kick as well, because you could easily balloon it off to the side or whatever. And you can see he's just beautifully kind of kicked it towards the goal. What did you make of that? I bet you were screaming.
Screaming internally, otherwise I would have woken up Mrs. and the little one, so that wouldn't have gone well for me at 5:11 a.m. But no, I mean, Schar has that in his locker, like you said. He's for a centre half, he's technically gifted on really both feet, but especially his right foot. He's technically gifted, and he sometimes tries things a little bit too ambitiously, and he takes shots from where he shouldn't, or he tries passes where he shouldn't and gives the ball away. But that moment or that chance had Schar written all over him. I don't think anyone else in our team would have even tried that, but he goes, nah, screw this. I'm going to have a pop. And I mean, it deserved to be a goal. It was unlucky it nailed off crossbar, but I think you'd see Murph. Murph felt guilty that he put it in because he's like, oh shit, Schar's just hit an absolute world. He would have been one of the goals of the decade or one of the greatest goals in the Premier League. And the ball just cannoned off the crossbar. But this is the thing with Schar for me. He's, as a centre half, yeah, he can be a little bit, sometimes go walkabouts and be a bit of a liability, but he has that in his locker that he can either score goals for us, which he has done fairly consistently as a centre back, but he can also do that, not score from 60 yards, but he can hit a ball and hit a crossfield pass. So it's valuable when you have a centre half who can do that and can carry the ball out. And like you said, he actually won the ball. It wasn't as if he was just launching it from his spot as a centre back. So fair play to Schar. Very unlucky that he didn't score. And yeah, Murph's second touch was god awful. I think the keeper was still in daze because he didn't move. Even that second touch was so poor. The keeper just stood there, and Murph's like, okay, I've still got time to catch up to this ball. It was a bit of slapstick comedy at the end, but thank goodness we did score there.
No, absolutely. Murph said afterwards, he was probably joking, to be honest, but he was like, yeah, I was actually quite annoyed with Schar because he should have passed it to us initially. I was in loads of space. It's like, dude, come on, man. Yeah, I think he was joking, though. But that is the longest shot ever in the EPL since it started to hit the woodwork, which is a bit of a weird stuff for someone to actually have compiled in the first place. It's like sitting there going, oh, I can't wait to update this one. And as I said, Murph almost balls it up. So that's 8 goals now and 10 assists for Jakob Murphy. And apparently the only player to have 10 plus goals and 15 plus assists in the 50 games since the start of last season, which is obviously a selective period there. But I mean, when we think about the transfer windows, I think most fans instinctively think need a new right winger, need somebody who's going to be like world class down the right. Got Gordon on the left, and we need those person down the right to do all these amazing balls and assists and goals and stuff. But I mean, just look at Murphy; he's doing it, and he's already here, and he costs us like nothing. And he's a Newcastle fan, and I kind of wonder. I don't know what you think, but I wonder. Is that just fan logic that we need to get someone down the right? I mean, you could argue, yes, we need someone as a backup to Murphy, but do you think with this form that he's in right now that we actually need a replacement for Murphy and then Murphy would then be the backup? How do you see it?
Look, to be honest, if I love Murph and he's done amazingly for us, but I just don't see us, if we wanted to be competing for trophies year in, year out, we need more than just Murph at right wing. I mean, his stats are amazing. There's no denying his stats are amazing, but I think everybody knows that it's sort of like that Miggy season when Miggy was on fire and he kept scoring all those goals, and everyone's like, hang on, is Miggy the player that couldn't score for 3 seasons, or is he a player that scores 8 goals in 8 games? Murphy has done it for the last year and a half, 2 years. He's been fantastic for us, even longer. But I just don't think anyone truly believes that the goals, the assists will continue. And I mean, his partnership with Isaac is undeniable. Him and Isaac are probably the most lethal combination in Europe, which is amazing to say.
Yeah,
But
second top, I think.
yeah, but when you look at it, and if we want to be competing in the Champions League, if we want to be competing in the Premier League, we need not only someone to back up Murphy, but to compete with Murphy. And if someone is better than him and it can take his spot, that's great for us. Because if we've got someone like Murphy coming off the bench, even better. I just don't think we can settle and say, look, we've got our right wing sorted with Murph. We need someone either comparable or someone potentially even better than him to be pushing each other, because that's ideally what you want in a team. When Wilson and Isaac had that season where they were both scoring loads of goals 2 or 3 years ago, they were both pushing each other. It was Isaac starting one week, it was Wilson the next week. Whoever came off the bench was scoring goals. That's exactly what we want at the right wing position. So for me, we need someone comparable at the very least, and potentially even better than Murph to go where we need to go.
Fair enough. I would love to see him way more down the right. I'll just say it. I'll just stick it out there. I think most people probably would agree. Right, so that was 2-0. 11 minutes gone. Thinking, bloody hell. I actually predicted a 6-0 for this. And I was thinking, Jesus, this is looking all right, this. 30 minutes. 11 minutes, sorry. 2 already. Yeah, I was thinking, Jesus, this is easy. Should have went to 8. But then it took 34 minutes. It took to the 34th minute to get our final goal, our third goal. And I suppose you probably could have predicted that it would have been Barnes scoring against his old team. Kind of felt a bit inevitable. So basically, Isaac takes a shot. He was a bit off today, Isaac. I want to talk about him in a minute, but he took a bit of a shot. It got blocked. Good work by Joe Linton to follow it up. Cuts inside, takes a shot. That also gets blocked, but that also then gets parried to Barnes for another tap-in. So it's been 3 tap-ins now, I think about it. 3 tap-ins that entire game.
You're right.
It just shows you how bad Leicester are if you just tap them in 3 times. It didn't celebrate either. So I think there was a little bit of a question mark about, is he going to celebrate? Is he not? Ooh, it's really important. Does he do it or not? Oh, God. What's he going to do? Who the fuck cares? As it turns out, he didn't celebrate, so he showed a bit of respect. Anything to add about that third goal? A tap-in won it.
Look, he was in the right spot at the right time. Joe Linton's move was good to get the shot away, but you're right, the defending was awful. He was just wide open 6 yards from goal and no one paying attention to him. I initially thought it was offside. I thought there was no way that he's goal side and not offside from all these defenders, but Leicester just, they were nowhere near it. And I mean, sometimes those goals are the ones you want to score, because you can't rely on the ones from 20 yards or the worldies.
60 yards.
You have to get those. You have to get those not cheap goals, but the tap-ins, the 1% goals, like I say. So you need to make sure that you've got players who put themselves in the right spot. And Barnes, for me, since Gordon's been out the last 4 games, he's done a really good job. And Gordon, like we talked about before, he may not be fit anyway for this upcoming game on the weekend. I wouldn't be rushing him back the way that Barnes is playing. I'd be giving Barnes a chance to keep that starting position until Gordon's 100% fit. And even then, we'll see where Barnes' performances goes. But I think he's always good for a goal for us, and he's always seems to know where the goals are and put himself in the right position. So, he deserved that goal, especially on the first half performance. And, 3-0, 34 minutes, the game was cooked.
It was. It's going to be interesting, as I say, to see what happens when Gordon is fit and ready to come back in. Eddie Howe tends to, he's kind of changed his way he operates, and I've said this before on here, but it used to be the case that you'd say, right, you've lost your shirt for whatever reason. Now you're going to have to get it back. And usually that means dead man's shoes. You wouldn't feel the guy to do some sort of terrible game, have a terrible game or 2, and then he's like, right, you're hooked. I'm going to get the other guy in, and then that's his shirt to lose. Then other times you'll sort of change the formation just because he wants to change it for whatever reason, the opposition and so on. It'll be interesting to see what he does. Barnes is doing very well, and we all know he's a good player. It's just, I think players like him need to have a run of games to get up to speed, and then to start showing them and reminding people exactly why we signed him in the first place. Like, he was electric for Leicester before he came to us. He would belt down that wing, and he was kind of central to a lot of the good stuff that they did.
Yeah.
So it's nice to see him doing well. It'll be interesting to see what he does when Gordon comes back. So that was basically the end of the first half, and might as well have been the end of the game, to be honest. We should have just blown the bloody full-time whistle there and then and buggered off. I was just thinking, I heard something on the Football Ramble, different podcast, some guy on there. He was like, it kind of sums up Leicester's season. Their best shot at goal was the one that beats Pope, bounces off the inside of the left post, bounces off the side of the right post, and then just gently trickles into his midriff. And Pope's still on the ground. It just rolls into his arms. And it was fucking offside anyway. It just sort of sums up Leicester's entire season, doesn't it? Newcastle for Newcastle, that's the 5th double that we've done this season. Not too bad. We've got 6 points also from Spurs, Wolves, Southampton, and probably a bit of a surprise, Forest.
Yeah.
So we know how to deal with Forest, it seems. Poor old Leicester, they've become the first team in Football League history, not Premier League, Football League history, all 4 top divisions, to ever lose 8 games in a row without scoring a single goal. God, 0 goals since 9th of December 2024.
Jesus. That's rough.
On the plus side for them, they did bring on their new new trainee, I guess, Jeremy Mong, I don't know.
Mong,
sub, 15-year-old. He's so young, he's not even allowed to have a sponsor on the front of his shirt. Actually, when I saw him running around, I thought, have they just given him like training top because they forgot that they didn't bring it along with him or something like that? I was like, why is he not wearing this thing? And then they told us he was 15-year-old on the comms. I will just say, like, for all Foxes fans, you might as well get used to hearing how old he is every single time this guy's ever mentioned by the comms team. It's going to be like Lewis Miley times 100 because he was 17 and this guy's 15. So, get comfortable. You're going to get sick of that really fast. Let's move on to Isak. So I had him in my FPL. Probably everyone else did as well. I fully expected him to bang in a few and improve his position in the Golden Boot table for this season, particularly since Salah has kind of went off the boil. Haaland's injured. I think Chris Wood's still injured. Isak has a real chance to move up the table there. Our logo is blocking off what Salah's on. Salah's on 27. At the top there, you've got Haaland on 21 and then Isak on 20. And I was thinking, with Leicester being so bad, surely he's going to bang in a couple and move up that table. The chances that he did have were few, but they were still kind of scoreable for a man of his quality.
Yeah.
And they either got blocked or he hit them wide, and it was very unlike him. What's going on with Isak? Do you think there's anything going on with him? Is he getting? Do you spot any kind of tiredness? Maybe is it just one of those things where he's just gone from one of those patches where he can't score to save his life? What do you reckon is going on with Isak?
He scored against Brentford, so we'll give him that.
We did. Yeah.
This morning, to be honest, he looked like he couldn't be fucked. He looked, especially when we scored 2 goals in the first 11 minutes. He's thinking, do I really need to be pressing the centre halves and the keeper? And do I need to be giving my 100% effort because we've got 3 games coming up in 6 days? Yeah, I think he looked someone who was in first gear, and if he needed to, he could have found an extra 2 or 3 or 4 gears, but. Look, when you're that high quality as he is, and when you're that good a goal scorer, you just expect him to score goals virtually every game.
That's probably what I'm thinking, especially against a really bad opposition.
Yeah, you just assume he's going to get 2 or 3 half chances, and because he's so good, he'll put one of them away. I'm glad that we've scored 3 goals this morning, and he didn't score, and he looked a little bit not off the pace, but he looked. He was sort of just first gear, just moving around, just going through the motions. But we're going to need him for the next 7 games, and with the first big one coming up on this weekend against that team from Manchester, we're going to need his quality and his deadly finishing. So there's no worries and no issues with me with Isak. He's allowed to have a bad game and a quiet game, and the fact we could hook him with half an hour to go as well was fantastic, because I dare say he's going to be playing a lot of the next 3 games in 6 days, which is a lot of football to ask. And any time we can rest a player or get them off early is very valuable.
Yeah, we'll come on to the fixtures in just a minute, and I realise how ridiculous I sound asking what's going on with Isaac, because he scored against Liverpool in the final. He scores against Brentford in the last game, and here I am saying, why is he not scoring? What's wrong with him? Because he didn't score in one game. Like, come on. But it was Leicester, and they were terrible, and it did seem like he could bag a few and move up that table into second place at the expense of Haaland, but it wasn't to be. Just want to quickly show our away form here, because we are doing pretty well in the away form chart. I've only got the top 4 here, but Liverpool at the top here, 16 Premier League wins with 35 points. Then it's Arsenal. Played 16, won 10 with 35 points. Arsenal played 16 and won 7 with 28 points. And then it's us in third, played 16, won 8 with 27 points. So our away form is doing pretty well this season. I don't have the home one, but I imagine it's not as good as the away one, which is one of those kind of weird foibles of this season, where we seem to be a little bit better away from home than we are at home. Let's do man of the match. There's not a great deal more to talk about this game. It's basically done and dusted. Bugger off. Move on to something else. I'll let you go first with your 3-2-1 on man of the match, or just pick your man of the match if you like. It's up to you.
Not easy to pick a man of the match for this one, to be fair, because it was not much going on. Let's just give it to Murph. He scored 2 goals, so let's give it to him.
Yeah, I went 3 for Murph, 2 for Barnes, and I did 1 for Joe Linton, because I think he was pretty good at particularly the defensive side of his game, and it was his run that made the second goal, so not third goal. So 3-2-1 Murph, but I think Murph deserves it. Yeah, exactly. Let's have a look at where we are in the table. So it is Liverpool at the top, once again being hidden by our logo. Sorry about that. They're on 73 points, 31 played. Then it's Arsenal, played 31 with 62. Forest in third with 57 points, haven't played 31. Chelsea in fourth with 53 points, haven't played 31. And then it's Newcastle in fifth on 53 points also, but we have a game in hand, having only played 30 games. So if we win our game in hand, which I believe is Palace, and that isn't a given by any stretch, Palace are doing very well at the moment, then we will be moving up into fourth place, and we will only be a point behind Forest, which is, and actually only, I think, 6 or so points behind Arsenal, who we still have to play as well. So don't want to get ahead of ourselves here, but like, this could be a sensational season, couldn't it? I mean, we're all thinking, let's just get into goddamn Champions League position. It doesn't really matter whether it's 5th, 4th, 3rd, or 2nd necessarily. You get a bit more money, but you still get Champions League, and 5th is probably going to go to England as well with the coefficient. So win a cup, first time in 50 whatever it was years at all, and 70 for domestic, and then get into Champions League. That is going to be a pretty decent season. And we didn't even start that well, if I remember rightly. The start of the season was a little bit like,
Yeah.
And we're on the brink of doing like probably our best season ever, if it isn't already.
Yeah. It'll be the greatest season in my lifetime, for sure. Your lifetime, not sure, probably. But definitely my lifetime. It's right there in front of us. And the beauty of that table is we've got that game in hand. So that is an advantage for us, because we know what we need to do. The game in hand is at home. And not just that, we've got positive momentum. So the teams above us, Forest are stumbling a little bit. Arsenal,
Chelsea,
virtually have nothing to play for. They're just focusing on Champions League. Chelsea are a yo-yo. They haven't been great until this recent weekend. So it's right there in front of us that we can absolutely take this Champions League position, and the fact there's 5 teams gives us even a bigger carrot to aim for, because if you're looking at top 5, it's at the moment it's Liverpool, Arsenal, Chelsea, Forest, and us. But Manchester City have also got FA Cup semi-final to worry about. Villa, who's below Manchester City, they're still in the Champions League. So there's other teams around us, and Chelsea's still in the Conference League. So the teams around us have got other things to focus on. Nottingham Forest, another one. They're going to Wembley as well in the FA Cup semi-final. So we're really the only team besides Liverpool who's already won the league who've got nothing else to focus on. So it's a massive advantage, I think, for us. And with the positive momentum, there's no reason why we shouldn't be aiming for a Champions League position. And if not just a Champions League position, it may be a fourth or a third finish. You never know. But I'd be happy with fifth. And if we can get Champions League football again, it would be unbelievable.
It would, and then I guarantee as soon as that gets secured, everyone goes, "Oh, the squad's not good enough," and then we'll have this whole drama online about the squad being shit and, what we're going to do to fix it and whatnot. But I mean, it's already been a fantastic season. We won the cup, still cannot get over that. We've got Europe as a result as well. Let's not forget. So I mean, it is the lesser of the three, but it is still Europe. So that's kind of like the fallback prize, if you like, in this competition. Say, oh well, you didn't get this, but you still got this. And with the likes of the Europa and the conference, those are probably competitions that you'll have a good chance of winning. Because a lot of the teams in there are shite.
Yep.
So, there's pros and cons to being in those and not in the UCL, but obviously the UCL is about the prestige and it's about the money. Let's not kid ourselves. So, I mean, Christ, if we get that, what a season it's going to be. Eddie Howe, get a statue,
Yep.
Cast him in bronze and stick him next to St. James's Park. The man deserves it. Almost finished. Let's have a look at some of the final fixtures. We have, God, I have to squint on this one. So we've got next game is against Man United at home on the 14th. Then after that, it's Crystal Palace, which I guess is the game in hand. Then that's also at home. I think these last 7 or whatever it is games, I think 5 of them are actually at home, which, as I said before, that I'm not sure what that's an advantage. But I'm not sure that's an advantage given that we've been playing a lot better away from home. So normally you go, that's excellent, but then you're thinking, is it? Anyway, so it's Man United, then it's Crystal Palace, then it's Villa away. That's a big game. And then it's Ipswich at home. That should be guaranteed 3. Then Brighton away, which we don't particularly do well down there. No. Then you've got Chelsea at home, another big game. And then Arsenal away, which is a huge one. And the final game of the season is against T-Rex himself, Everton, at St. James's Park. So there's a mixture of some easy and some not so easy. Where do you reckon, looking at those final fixtures, I'll bring up the table in a second. It's probably easy to say, where do you see the banana skins, I think, in that lineup? Where do you see us sort of stumbling a little bit? And that can include a draw as much as a defeat, I suppose.
Yeah, so obviously for me, Brighton away, I don't think we've won there since the famous Mo Diame side foot and the Jose Perez late winner in the championship. So I don't think Brighton away is ever a fun trip for us. So that's going to be a very tricky game. The rest of the games, to be honest, don't really scare me. I mean, even in between their Champions League performance or their Champions League match against PSG. So I don't see any fixture there that we should feel that we're heavy underdogs against. Even the Arsenal game, I mean, we've beaten Arsenal 4 times this season, I think, or 3 times this season. So they're well and truly our bunnies at this point. So we won't be fearing that game at all. So look, it's all in our hands. This is where you want to be at this time of the season. You want to have control your own destiny. And for us, it's look no further than the game on Sunday night, Monday morning our time, and get those 3 points, and then we move forward. But for me, with that fixture list, there's no reason why we shouldn't expect, in my opinion, to finish in the top 5.
Yeah, I think if I'm looking at this, I'm thinking Villa, Chelsea, Arsenal are the games that are probably not banana skins, but are probably critical to where we end up in this end of the season. They're teams that are around us, all doing kind of all right, apart from Chelsea. They're kind of, with Palmer's, he's gone off the ball, or I don't even know if he's injured actually. So so they're always a difficult team. Brighton, as I say, Palace we have to keep our eye on. They are not going to be an easy team to play against. It's funny that through all this, neither of us are saying, like, Manchester United, got to be careful about them, because the dog shit. It's just such a strange season from them. But we both seem quite confident that we will beat Man United, which is next. Let's just wrap this up then anyway. So next game, Man United, 14th of April, 1:30 a.m. kickoff for us, God help us. Prediction for that one, Dimi?
3-0.
2. And don't say
Us.
United.
Us.
To us. Right, excellent. I will just go for a nice, easy 1-0 Isak goal, I think. Don't have to be fancy about it. All these cup finals that we've got lined up here, we just have to get through the win. We just have to get that win. Just like Brentford,
exactly.
we just had to win. We played like absolute shite against Brentford. Still managed to get through it. That's what we need to do. This is the final stretch. Hopefully the boys can do it. We've already got that cup in the new trophy cabinet that has just been built, especially since there's fuck all else to put in it until this point. So the tour of the stadium is suddenly worth doing now because there's a bloody cup to look at for the first time in God knows how long. So we've won that cup competition. We've won that final. We've got 8 more to go. Let's hope that the lads can get us over the line and get us into the UCL. All right, Demi. That will do for us. I am completely cream cracked. You look like you are as well, mate. And thanks for joining us. Thanks for listening and watching, everybody. Give us a like and subscribe. Stick some comments down below. Tell us if you reckon Murphy should be binned as soon as we get a better right winger or anything else that you've listened to today. Just give us a comment. We will reply and we will leave it there. Oh, well, lads. Cheers, Demi.
Cheers, mate.